I'm going to walk through a ETL project in which we have this um, New York City data. So it basically is a housing data set from Kaggle. Um, so what we want to do here is load this data into a database. Um, After loading the data, we read the data to some Python script. After that, we transform the data, and when we have this transformed or enriched data that is ready, then we can basically write that data to the database table. So all this is a um, just a sec. So all this uh, is a ETL pipeline. So what that means is we extract the data from the Postgres database, and from there we transform the data, and then finally we load the data to the database. So for that, first of all, if I go to the PG admin, I've created these two tables, Airbnb listings. So this is the table for initial load of the CSV file. So all the data in the CSV file goes to this table. Um, After that, um, after that, we have these. So I've created these utility functions in which we, as you can see, we have these schema for the initial load to create the initial table. Uh, so this function is to establish the connection. We have the hostname, database, username, password, port ID. We create a connection string, and finally this engine is basically the database connection. So for, let's say, for writing the initial load, we have this um, New York City data set. We establish the connection, and if there is no table, then we basically create a schema for the table, create the table, or basically create the table. So we have this create table if not exists. So if this Airbnb listings is not there, then you can create the table. So after that, um, this df.sql, this basically writes the data to the table name as this Airbnb listings. We have this engine connection, and we append the data, um, and the data is the data in data frame, which we have read from the CSV file. So now, so this can be done through this load data file. So after this initialization, then we can do the extract, transform, and load steps. So for extracting, we have this utility function, um, load data from database. So from Airbnb listings, we select all the data, and so we have read all the data in the data frame. After reading the data, we have to do some transformations. So for transformation, we have this function of transform data. So transformations, like there are a lot of things in transformations, but just to give an example here, so we have added, like there's a column reviews per month. So in that, we replace the NA values with 0 value, and the parameter is in place. That means we don't have to create a new column. So in the same column, we edit the same column basically. Then we have another transformation, or like dropping all the NA values. So all the NA values are, that means that the rows with NA values are dropped, and that is also in place. So we don't create a new column with the dropped values. And finally, we have the third transformation, which is like we create a new column, last review. Sorry, we create a new column, review month. So why we need this is we just want to extract the month from the date. Like we have like the date would be like some date like 1st of July. 2024. So we want to extract the July, which is basically the 7 value. Uh, Right. So yeah, we return the transformed data frame. So after returning the transformed data frame, we have this function write transform data to database. So this transform data frame is, again, we have this, we establish the connection. If the so we have this schema which points to this schema. This is the transform schema. So we create this schema with the new review month um, column. Um, so so we have this table Airbnb listings transform. So we write the transform data frame to this table in PostgreSQL. Um, yeah, and so so these are the functions. But to orchestrate all this, we need some we need some um, pipeline. So for that we have used here Metaflow. So if we go to linear Metaflow. So here we have the Metaflow and the steps defined. So if you can see, we have this first step, which is start. So let me just show you here, like what the overall idea is. We have this Metaflow DAG. So we start the DAG, then we have the second step of get data from database, which we saw, like for which we wrote the function. Then we have the data transformation. We also saw that function. And then finally, we have this push data to database step, and finally the end. So all these three steps we're gonna see in the Metaflow uh, DAG definition. So here is the overall flow and the DAG definition. So we have this step of start, which points to get data from DB. So get data from DB is basically calling the load data from DB. So we load the data from PostgreSQL. Then we go to data transformation. Here we do the transformation and go to push data to DB. So in push data to DB, we have this write transform data to database. So here basically we are writing the data frame to the PostgreSQL, and finally the pipeline ends. So in the pipeline, that is the flow, and other than that, we have retries just to make the pipeline fault tolerant. If something is not working, for example, if we are connecting to a database and it didn't connect for the first time, then we can retry it for the second time. Um, and also we have the catch. So this is the try except um, um, catch block. So what catch will do is it will, if there is an error, it will ensure that our flow is not broken, our pipeline is not broken, and it will still continue, but we have to handle the error. So we have handled the error here. Um, and yeah, for every step we have the catch decorator. Uh, and finally, the pipeline ends. I so what I can do here is I can show um, so this is a I have a Windows machine, and in that I created a Docker image and created a container of this pipeline, and then ran it. So what we can do is, let me just show it here. So if we we do a Docker build of the app, it will take like um, 1 minute. So now the image is created, and let's try to run the image. Or we can, before that, um, we can check if our Metaflow uh, Metaflow plan is correct. So here's the plan. Like, we do a start, we have this step start. From there we go to get data from DB. We get, so basically getting the data from database, then transforming it, and then pushing the data to the database in the transform table. So Now if I try to run it, so here we have the task started. This is the start task. After that, we have the first task of getting the data from database. So data is fetched. Then we have the data getting transformed. Here we see data is transformed, and then after that we push the data to the transform data to the database. Yeah, thank you.